Welcome to That 80s Show. And Dori, I've been touched in my studio. Third attempt at starting the show, but I think we're finally good to go. How are you, Dori?
Are we starting by talking about our ailments? Because we're that old.
I was going to say, this is That Wrist Injury Show.
Yes.
That Wrist Brace Show, brought to you by ArthroGuard. So, yes, Dori, you got a clicking wrist.
I've got a weird clicking wrist for no reason that I can fathom.
What have you been doing?
I don't play tennis.
Have you been hitchhiking?
I have not.
Did you have a late night Atari session on the Commodore, or maybe a Commodore 64?
Did I do it with the pinball?
You know, where you like flipping your little flappers?
Perhaps Pac-Man at the arcade.
My dating profile, I would like you to flip my flappers on Pinball Wizard, isn't it? And then I...
Of course, when a woman has a clicky wrist, nobody thinks anything of it. But when a man has a wrist injury, Paulo...
The second a man has a right-handed wrist injury.
Oh, so you're pointing out that yours is on your left. How do we know you're not just ambidextrous?
Well, or, you know, some people like to use the other hand, makes it feel like it's somebody else, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, so I hear.
So you heard.
In the schoolyards, but me, I sprained my thumb, Dori, of all fucking things.
Yeah.
And I will not. I broke the second biggest bone in my body, and that did not stop me. I'm not going to let a thumb hold me down. Oh no, we got to keep on moving. This is That 80s Show, where we love nostalgia. We love times past, I won't say times of yore. That was a very long time ago. Welcome, Dori. This is going to be a fun show. I want to start off with some serious talk, though. Not too serious for us. So we are taking part in something. This is the episode released in the week of something very cool called Podcasthon. Okay, and Podcasthon is in its second year. It's an international movement where podcasters around the world donate their episode this week, I think running from the 15th of March to the 20th, to a charity of their choice. And you can donate it in any way. You can just use your podcast to raise awareness for something that you care about, and a charity that needs the awareness, right?
So are we raising awareness for wrist injuries in old people?
You know, it kind of does. It would be apt. It would work very nicely together. So we are highlighting in this episode, but I've got a special episode that I'm doing for our charity, and our charity is Headway Gauteng. Okay. And they do fantastic work it's a non-profit organization that they do great work for people who've acquired brain injuries.
Yeah, I know them well. They are fantastic.
Fantastic. And I'm speaking to one of the therapists there, Michelle Kai, and whether it's through accident or stroke, and that's affected my family recently. And one of the things I noticed was how my mother-in-law responded to music. And old music. She couldn't remember our names, but suddenly she remembered song lyrics, right? And was responding.
Sounds like me. I don't know anyone's name, but I know the song lyrics from the 80s. Do I have a head injury?
Right. So we're going to be speaking about that, but also the great work that Headway do. It is a non-profit, and like all non-profits need support and need awareness and need to be alerted. And we're going to have some fun. Michelle is an 80s fan, just like us.
Awesome.
So that's going to be a fun episode, and it'll be in your feed where you find this. So either above or below. I don't know. Depends how.
Just find it.
Just find it. It is there. So That 80s Show, as part of podcasthon.org, it is a great initiative because podcasters were selfish, right? Well, it's going, follow me, subscribe, like, share my show, give me, hit us in the comment, whatever. And we never give stuff back. We never give it back. So we've got a very loyal and nimble audience. And we just
Are they nimble?
No, not at this age. Not they are like clicky knees.
Yeah, and clicky wrists.
Yeah, we have a loyal and clicky kneed audience, but we'd love you to know about the great work that Headway are doing. And thank you to the guys at Podcasthon for raising the initiative. You know, I met them last year in London. They had only done 2 or 3 countries last year, and this year I see it could be up to 50 different countries around the world are taking part.
Love it.
And us as That 80s Show, and then as a broader organization, the South African Podcasters Guild, we are very happy to be involved and very pleased and very proud to use our podcasts for good. Right, so listen to that.
Unlike what we usually do, which is to use it for silly.
I a lot of people use their podcast. You and I use our podcast for 100% silly. But Dori, I've got to start the show with bad news. You know, he's a man that gives us a lot of laughs, a lot of laughter. We are always, I love him. I do love him. But shame, he's going through a bit of a bad time this week. David Hasselhoff. Oh. Did you hear his wife and the mother of his 2 children passed away this week?
I did not.
Dori, a terrible story is his ex-wife, Pamela Bach. They met on the set of Knight Rider. So she's OG. This isn't even like latter.
Yeah.
So she met him in the peak of his... he wasn't the Hoff yet then. During Knight Rider.
No, I think he only became the Hoff with Baywatch, eh?
Late, I think after Baywatch, because then he just realized, you know, people like to laugh at me. Oh, it was when he was singing. It was that like kind of little cusp period where he wasn't.
Was it because DJs couldn't pronounce his surname? Maybe,
yeah.
Hey?
So then they met on the set of Knight Rider. Their 2 children, remember that terrible video that came out a few years ago of him eating the hamburger drunk on the floor? It was one of the daughters from this marriage. And then he was a grandfather again. This was the grandmother.
And his kid was on that reality show with horses.
Correct. So, but such a horrible story. She died at the age of 62. They found her dead in her home after the family requested a welfare check. They had not heard from her in a while and asked the cops to go see what was going on. And they found her, this was on Wednesday, the 5th of March. And they found that it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Wow.
A friend has come forward and said, you know, we think that people have these like glamorous Hollywood lives, but people are hurting. It wasn't uncommon for her to, great friend this, to talk about a drinking problem, but for her to be drinking a bottle of vodka at 11 in the morning. There were pills. She was smoking marijuana all day. And she had bad times with drugs and alcohol. David Hasselhoff has released a statement saying that we are grateful for the outpouring of love and support during this difficult time, but naturally request privacy for him and his daughters. Terrible news.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of in a way similar to the Gene Hackman story, which is so weird.
So, I mean, I'm glad you went that way because obviously the Gene Hackman story, we haven't spoken much about it, even though Gene Hackman was quite big in the 80s, but everyone knows what happened. No one had seen or heard from him and his wife for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And find them both dead in their home with a dog.
Yeah.
The dog was dead. And it's been such a mysterious, I mean, I think what happened with Gene Hackman, did you hear the report from the autopsy?
The report said that, that he had advanced Alzheimer's for a start.
Right.
So now...
But have you heard the scenario they created? What they assume must have happened?
No.
Okay, so they had last seen them in town, the wife.
Right.
She had taken the dog. The dog had a procedure, their one dog. And then they saw her a day or 2 later picking up medication for the dog and a couple of groceries. That's the last time they saw them.
Right.
And then, of course, they get found in the house. Again, family going, we haven't heard from them in a while.
Yeah.
You got to go check this out, which is something weird I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So what they say from the autopsy is they assume that she had passed away first. She had a disease.
Yes, the Hunter virus?
To do with exposure to rat feces or something?
Apparently, didn't they live out in like kind of a nature-y place in New Mexico, right?
Right, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then she passed away first, and because of his condition, he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So they say he must have stumbled around the house. The reason the dog died, the dog was in a I don't want to say cage because I can't imagine a Hollywood person, but because it had a procedure, so it was kept separate from other dogs, closed in.
I thought it was in a cupboard.
No. So it wasn't a cupboard. This is like a lot of the misinformation.
Okay.
So what do you call it when you train a dog? But it's not a cage, but you kept the dog was separate because it had the op. So it was separate in a closed space.
Like a carrier
kind
situation.
Of thing, right?
Okay.
And then obviously not being fed. So she passed away.
Yeah.
No one fed the dog. Gene Hackman didn't know what was going on. And this is the terrible scenario that they say must have happened.
So, I mean, I have questions, and I'm trying not to be judgy because obviously we don't know these people. We don't know their family. And because Gene Hackman has 3 kids.
So
3 kids, unless they're all estranged. Nobody thought to check on their dad with advanced Alzheimer's.
This is what my wife says, and it's the same thing with David Hasselhoff's ex-wife. But if you've not heard from a person for like a day, fine. 2 days. Once you hit 3 days, you're going, shit, something's up here. I've got to go check it out. And then you start going, have you heard from them? Okay, let me check on them. So how estranged are you? I mean, do we have a Yoko Ono situation here? Did she keep Hackman away from his children?
No idea. I don't know the intricacies of that whole relationship.
No. So these are things. It's terribly sad.
It's so sad. It's so sad that someone who was, I mean, I loved him in the Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh, he was so fantastic in everything.
I mean, but I mean, especially in that, which is the last thing I remember watching him in.
Yeah.
Not an 80s movie, but we will.
It's just a very weird time to be a Hollywood star, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and you think these people are surrounded, because you're going, like, just think about it. If you're David Hasselhoff's ex-wife, you know, you're getting money. You got money, even because she was in Baywatch as well. So she was in Knight Rider with him, and then she was had a recurring role in Baywatch while they were still married. And then Gene Hackman,
I need to Google. I don't remember what she looked like.
Surely you'll recognize her, especially from Baywatch. I don't really remember her from Knight Rider.
I don't remember much from Knight Rider, let's be honest.
Dori, all you have to remember from Knight Rider is Goth Knight. The evil Knight Rider. Okay. If you may have forgotten in your mind's eye, Knight Rider, they had an evil Michael Knight called Goth Knight. How could you tell he is different? He had a mustache.
Yes. and he had an evil glint in his eyes.
And he had an evil car called Car. That's true. It was an evil version of Kid.
Oh, I totally recognize her.
Yeah. Dori gave her a quick Google. Do it the same. Or maybe pop that picture up on that 80 Show SA Facebook page. And you tend to think of Hollywood stars are going to be surrounded by people because you go, but where were the staff? But where was the gardener? Why did the gardener not check in on them?
Right.
But you don't know, people going, I don't want people around me. I've had enough.
Yeah.
Get away from Hackman. You know? Anyway, so very sobering start to this week's That 80 Show. And Dori, I got even worse news.
Oh my God. Is this show a comedy show or what?
One of the biggest songs of the 80s has a scandalous history. Did you ever think... I'm actually going to, the story is actually super stupid. Okay.
Thank goodness.
But I have to read you the intro of this. This is so well written. It's from metro.co.uk, which I think is a bit tabloidy.
It's very tabloidy.
Right? Even if you're filled with dread on the morning of your cousin's Swansea Rec Centre wedding, as you make your fifth attempt at tying your bow tie and grumble about wasted PTO, all of the resentment melts away as soon as the first string chords of the Dexys Midnight Runners' 1982 hits play at the reception. How can you not believe in love when screeching Tura Lura into the sweaty face of some groomsman whose misspelled neck tattoo is looking less and less like a deal breaker with every pint you down? Obviously written from a female perspective. Come on, Eileen.
Yeah.
I mean, we've
made the jokes.
We've made the jokes so many times, but it is the ultimate drunken sing-along song.
It is.
You don't even have to know the words.
No.
And it's a song goes fast, it goes the slow down bit.
It's you can mosh.
Oh, you can do
slow dance.
There's so many things happening in that song.
Yeah.
The Tura Lura Tura.
Extremely British.
Very.
Like
so
that
British.
And Tub Thumping. The ultimate British songs.
I drink a whiskey drink, I drink a vodka drink. They're very British.
Yeah.
And what's become British as well is Sweet Caroline.
Oh.
That's also, when I was in London last year, down one street, every pub was playing it at different versions. It was like being wearing the world's most fucked up Bluetooth headphones because we're just all connecting the song at the different
That's
time.
very strange.
Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
They love it out there. It was a soccer thing. And then kind of just got adopted into mainstream culture in the streets of London pubs. But Dexys Midnight Runners, because you think, hey, a band that sings such a happy song, they must be the best of friends all the time. Hated each other.
All of them.
And the song is stolen.
Dori.
So the band's from Birmingham, and Kevin Rowland was the lead singer. Do you know Kevin Rowland? Do you know the name?
I know the name, yes.
Okay, so would you be able to name any of the other Midnight Runners other than Dexy?
Absolutely not.
He was.
I don't think there's a Dexy in the band. I think that's.
But Kevin Rowland was an absolute tyrant that the rest of the band hated. He was like a total autocrat. You weren't allowed talking to him any time. How can you have a band if you can't talk to the lead singer? So they all hated him. Fantastic photo here of him in massively rolled up jeans. I got to tell you. And
so they were probably kind of grateful they were a one-hit wonder then? Didn't have to like...
I was just about to say this to you.
Keep going.
Dori,
yeah.
Do you know that, yes, people do think they're a one-hit wonder?
I actually have the album that song is on, and there's a few hits on it.
They had multiple songs that got into the UK top 20.
And they're great. Yeah. They're great songs.
So they're best known for that.
Yeah. Yes.
But I was also like, oh, total one-hit wonder. And then, no, they actually had a lot of songs. They had a song,
Jackie Wilson song, which is really cool.
They had another one called Dance Dance, which hit the top 40 in the UK as well. So they had a lot of songs.
They did.
That were doing quite well. Then another top 10 single called There, My Dear. So did well. But then the band started breaking up. People started leaving. We can't deal with Kevin Rowland. He's an absolute diva. They formed different bands. There's a spin-off band called Blue Ox Babes. And
never heard of them.
No. Okay. The guy who started Blue Ox Babes has claimed that Rowland ripped off their song, and especially the Tura A bit, right? So he says, we had another song that we had performed together, but we never did anything. The big chanting kind of anthem feel of the song, the slow down and speed up version, or a bit of it, because that's what they do, and the Tura A, they say completely stolen, which he denied for years, right?
Well, can either of them prove it?
Well, Kevin Rowland, because people then mellow in the old age, he actually admitted that he did steal parts of it in 2003. Told The Guardian, I'd been pretty mood altered for some time. For years, I thought my part in everything was bigger than it was. Then I went through a long period of feeling I was the worst piece of shit in the world, that I was nothing of the group's talent, that it was all other people, and that I was a fraud. And he goes that, yes, and Kevin played me his demo tape, and I was more influenced than I should have been.
Kevin.
Who am I talking about?
I don't know. You said Kevin played...
Sorry, no. He had been Kevin said he had been played the demo tape. He had liked lots of parts about the song. And when he went, he said, I'd been influenced by it more than I should have been. But he says...
Unconsciously influenced.
He says he didn't steal one note or any lyrics or melodies. But
I think that's how the courts rule on it.
Well, I think that's the thing.
So they wouldn't have a case.
What is Come On Eileen about, Dori?
No idea. Never thought of it. Don't even know the lyrics really.
The song, neither do I. The song tells a story of a sexual experience that the writer had with a Catholic schoolgirl from his past. So he was raised in a strict Catholic environment, and he wrote the lyrics in exploration of shame, desire, and young love. And that's
young
the
lust,
truth.
It sounds like.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's about his first sexual experience, which makes Come On Eileen exactly what you think it's about. Fucking hell.
So I wonder if Eileen, and it's probably not her real name, but wonder if Eileen knows the song is about her.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Because I would claim royalties.
Do you want to, though?
Yes. I don't care.
Yeah, I know. You've been splooged on. You definitely want the money for it. Some fucking OnlyFans here. So, I asked you to do some homework ahead of the show.
You did, and I failed. I still don't know what you wanted me to see.
Okay. I'm going to tell you now, you're going to go back and you're going to go do it, and you're going to see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It'd be pointless to play it to you now during the show.
Yeah. No, I remember what it looked like.
Do you remember the TV show? It was a spin-off. You spoke about it before.
Yes.
The spin-off of The Cosby Show called A Different World.
Yes.
Right? And in it, it was Bill Cosby's eldest daughter,
Lisa Bonet,
goes off to college. Late 1989?
I imagine so.
Yeah. Cosby Show had finished. I think it was 1989.
Marissa Tomei's in it?
I did not fucking realize that. I know you spoke about it. I don't think you ever said Marissa Tomei was in it.
I don't remember saying that, but when you made me watch the opening credits, I was like, oh my God, Marissa Tomei's in this?
How did we miss that?
Because I never watched A Different World.
I love Marissa Tomei.
I know you do.
I love her. She's gorgeous. Did you see photos of her for her 60th birthday?
No, but I can imagine she looks good.
They put that on Netflix, and obviously when they made A Different World originally, it was made for your little classic box tube TV.
Right.
And you could go very quiet, and your your shot just needed to be a square.
Okay.
But now, of course, we're on Netflix. We got to go 4K. We got to go widescreen. And it wasn't shot that way.
Right.
So even like what some people have noticed in Friends, for example, is that the scene that they would have watched even on DVD release, it was a completely different scene to what ends up in streaming.
Is it cropped?
It's they actually have to use a different. So in the case of Friends, they used an actual completely different shot from what they had because it was a wider angle. So there's one thing.
They re-edit stuff?
So that's the effort they went through. So on Friends, there's one scene in particular. I don't know if you're a Friends fan, where Phoebe's trying to seduce Chandler to get him to admit that he's him and Monica are in a relationship, and everybody knows. It's the one where everyone knows, right?
Yes.
And the actual original release, the shot now that you see on stream, completely different shot. Same thing.
Yeah.
But it's a different shot, and they do edit it. Parts of Seinfeld, what people say is, I don't remember Jerry's apartment looking this terrible, because if you actually look around it, it's so messy, because things like that, like there's marks on the walls, because you weren't supposed to see it in shot.
Oh, I haven't noticed that. I'm watching Seinfeld still.
Okay, but just notice like certain scenes, like where they shot very close.
Okay.
There's things that go, that wall's so tatty, or that looks, because it's not supposed to be in shot. Things are off shelves and whatever, because they have to change it. But you go re-edit it, but you go, well, fucking use AI now, right? Let AI plug all the things in there and let it fill out the blanks. Let it make the screens. Because have you seen that thing AI does, like, I don't know, in Canva, or you can chuck in a photo and then it like imagines what the rest of the photo.
Yes.
People are doing it with like album covers, and Michael Jackson Beat It album cover and all that.
So before you carry on, I'm beginning to think that what I think about that homework you gave me that I thought can't be real might be what you were making me look for.
Okay.
Which is that 3 people had the same face.
Right. So.
Okay. Because I was like, why do they all look like the same person?
You know what Dori's great at doing is really fucking up my build-ups. But that's exactly it. So they've chucked a different world into AI and said, right, fill out the blanks are the things no one's going to see. It's back. No one gives a shit. It's whatever. And this is so stock, especially in the intro, of which, what does everyone do with the intro?
Forward it. Skip it,
right?
Skip it, yeah.
So what do they care? So you got your main actors, Lisa Bonet, Marissa Tomei, when they have the little, because in the beginning, because there's a little vignette that kind of like the intro tells a little bit of a story. She's waving while she gets there, and it kind of introduces the characters and all their little personalities, 80s sitcom style.
Yeah.
But there are scenes whenever there is a background character, they fucking look nightmarish. Right?
And I thought, oh, shame, that poor child.
Yes.
What an unfortunate face she has.
That's exactly when they're jumping rope.
Yes.
The 3 girls all have that terrible uncanny valley AI dead face.
I thought they just used an unfortunate looking child.
Because she's the one catches your attention.
Yes.
The other 2 look exactly the same.
They do.
Right?
Yes.
And there's like moments right throughout that intro that you're going, you're not supposed to look at that. No one's supposed to see that.
Right.
Because you either skipped through.
How did you stumble upon this?
Well, the internet, Dori. The internet told me about it. And then you start looking at it.
Yeah.
So I immediately went to the intro. I've got so many pictures here. There is one nightmarish one that I'm going to tell you, because what happened is now they're just doing it for background stuff and extended sequence and extended like kind of shot stuff.
Yeah.
So people in the background, like it's doing weird AI. Remember like AI when it first came out, it was doing fucked up things. Like Dori's shocked.
Oh my God.
Right? This woman's face is like conked in.
What is that from?
So it's a background character.
Wow.
Right? And this is happening because you just remember when AI first popped up, like there were weird things happening.
So many fingers.
And this is what is happening now in a different world. Even things like background, like the words on posters.
Yeah.
That nobody ever gave a shit about or whatever. AI has jumbled them up into that weird little AI language.
That's so funny.
Right?
Maybe, well, they're communicating with the other machines to take over.
So that's little different messages. I'm going to post this up on that 80 Show SA Facebook page, because they got so many of the examples of like when weird things happen. Like even this one scene, they open the door, it's supposed to say janitor's office, and then it's like all that weird little AI writing.
Is this all on a different world?
All on a different world in particular, because obviously they've had to make it widescreen and used AI to do the rest.
Just put black stripes on the side and everyone just watches it in a square.
We all want that, Dori.
Like, why not?
I don't want to watch a different world.
In a different world?
Exactly. I want to watch it in that 80s world. VHS quality. They should give you the option.
Yeah.
You know when you're going through like 16:9, letterbox, whatever?
Yeah. VHS quality. And then it goes...
Yeah. Fucked up. And then like sometimes it fucks out and you can kind of see what you taped over. It just kind of like jumps into it.
And it's someone's wedding video.
Yeah, well, the worst one. Hey, did you tape over my wedding with Dallas? It was the season finale. It was the one where Patrick Duffy realizes it's all a dream.
So funny you mentioned Dallas. Dallas is going to come up on the show again.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So listen, if you do watch A Different World on Netflix, Lisa Bonet, beautiful. Marissa Tomei, beautiful. I think they used AI to make them look even more beautiful. Mm-hmm. But you are not going crazy. Everybody in the background is
I thought this
evil.
Can't be it. This can't be what you wanted me to see. But it was.
It's fucked. Just do yourself a favor. Just watch the intro. Just go to Netflix. Just watch. Do not skip.
I thought you wanted me to see someone, like a real, like, oh my God, Brad Pitt's in this.
No.
Like, last week.
Do not skip.
Okay.
I don't even know how I did. I don't even know how I was actually able to watch an intro on Netflix.
Yeah.
Because automatically it just skips. Like,
no, it doesn't.
Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, watch just the intro and don't look at the main characters. Look at everybody else.
Yeah.
And their satanic features.
The guy who walks past the phone box looks all right. No, he looks all right.
No, but they got this like waxy look.
I don't know. He looks normal to me.
I don't want to make the joke, but they all look like fucking Bill Cosby got it there. Bill Cosby's. They've seen things, and he came to college.
Yeah.
And he's been attending the
doctor.
The doctor got the Jello, and everybody got the Jello. Bill Cosby's special Jello.
Oh, God. That's the title of the podcast.
Oh, it's all this fun thing. You never quite know what's going to come out, said Bill Cosby. Right, so every week we like to go and do multimedia recommendations. Dori says she's got a podcast for us to listen to.
Yes.
And it could involve Dallas.
It slightly involves Dallas.
So it doesn't, it's...
Dallas is not the main part
Somebody
of it.
in the podcast watched Dallas once.
Yes, correct. Well done.
I know, Dori.
Well done. I'm doing a 180-degree swing from my B-grade Plex movie of last week's show.
Dear.
I will go back to Plex, though. I will. I just happened to listen to this podcast, which was recommended by my friend Erica. Hi, Erica. I know she listens. So we're getting very intellectual this week, Paulo.
Oh, dear.
I'm going to say 3 letters, and you're going to realize how serious this is.
I'll take my cap and my headphones off because I can't have my silly little mind being squeezed. I need it to have full capacity.
Yes. BBC.
Oh, boy.
Now you know. Now you know how serious I am, hey?
Dori, I do like BBC. They do a lot of good sports podcast documentaries.
And they have great music channels as well.
Yes.
BBC4.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, so Erica recommended this podcast to me. She said it's really interesting. Check it out. She always recommends podcasts to me. It's called Lives Less Ordinary.
Right.
And it's literally about a team of producers at the BBC who decided to go out and find people from all over the world with interesting stories.
Okay.
Now, that sounds like pretty much every other podcast you've heard,
That's what
right?
I'm saying, right?
Right. It's very well done.
Do they ever sit down with anybody?
Yeah.
Are you even in a podcast if you're not sitting down with a person?
Of course they're sitting down.
Yeah, you got to sit down with a person.
And they have shared their time.
Yes.
Given of their time.
Yes, they've shared their time while we sat down.
Yes. We sat down with this person.
Oh, well, now we know it's a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like we are sitting down right now.
Besides the point, Dori. We could stand up if we wanted to, but our knees.
Our knees are not good enough to be standing. So I listened to the first couple of episodes because it was a 2-parter. Let me just give you an idea of like the range of stories on this show, because I'm going to talk about the show as a whole because it's really interesting. So the first 2 episodes
You said whole. Sorry, I'm not intellectual enough yet. Sorry, I need to get my intellectualism back. Okay, right. Sorry, you did say whole though.
I did.
Okay, we're going to look at their whole. Okay, anyway, sorry.
The first 2 episodes are about a guy he was a really, really good bicycle Cyclist is the word I'm looking for.
That is the word.
Cyclist?
Ooh, who's intellectual now?
Yeah, exactly.
Bicyclist.
I told you I don't have words. Cyclist. And he was actually like heading to the Olympics. He was that good. And then
on his bike, was he cycling there himself?
He was headed towards the Olympics on his bike, yes. And then it didn't happen for various reasons. One of them being he was lazy.
Okay.
And he admitted that.
Yeah, that will happen.
Well, one of the things that had always appealed to him when he was growing up, he used to watch lots of movies, crime heist movies, and especially bank robbery movies. And he was always like, that looks like so fun. I wish I could do that. So he decided, I ride a bike really, really fast. I'm going to rob a bank and I'm going to escape on my bike.
Like, that sounds so fantastic.
He did it so many times without getting caught.
No, so
many.
What fucking banks was he robbing?
Little banks.
Did he live in the UK?
No, America.
Wow.
And he was going around different places in America.
You can like own a small bank there.
Yeah, no, like not. So what he was very careful.
Yeah.
He chose banks that didn't have armed guards. That didn't have the secret button.
And you're not going to get a shitload of money, but if you
he didn't get shitloads of money. He got little bits at a time.
Yeah, but you do a lot.
And he never even the first time he threw the money out because he got freaked out. He was like, I'm going to get caught, and he threw the money out. Then he started giving the money away to like he would leave it in bags in poor communities.
Wow.
Anyway, he does eventually get caught. I'm not going to tell you the story. It's really, really interesting. So I was like, I love the show. So then there's so many episodes, though. It's a few years old.
Right.
So I thought, let me scroll through and just pick and choose the next one that I want to listen to. And I noticed there was a story from South Africa. And I'm like, this is unusual.
For BBC?
Very unusual for BBC to actually get a story from us. And, what an amazing podcast. 2-part about a man named Charles Abrahams. His story is formed and set in South African apartheid days, which is why I thought this will work for the show. Because he talks about growing up during apartheid. It's in the 80s. He's in the Cape Flats.
Right.
He's in like a really poor area. His family, none of them have like finished school or anything like that. But he's a really clever kid. And he's inspired by Chris Barnard. He thinks he wants to become a heart surgeon. And he says this in class because one day they're in class and the teacher's like, what do you all want to be when you grow up? As they did back then. I don't know if they still do. And excuse the sound of my clicking wrist as I talk. And and he said, I want to be a heart surgeon. And everyone, including the teacher, laughed at him, which is terribly sad.
No, that's horrible.
Terribly sad. But instead of letting it define him and put him off, it just made him more determined.
Yes.
So he was like, no, I'm going to make this happen. He worked very hard in school. Then apartheid South Africa, 80s.
Did what it did.
And him and his older brother became activists, and they got arrested and they got sent to jail.
Sure, okay.
So he missed like the end of high school while he was in jail. But while he was in jail, he got to know people, mostly people who were activists fighting against apartheid. And he decided, no, I need to do something else with my life. I need to become a lawyer. I need to, fight for justice in this country. So he was inspired. Long story short, he gets out of jail. He eventually manages to finish school. With a lot of struggle, he eventually manages to get his law degree. While he's talking about this, they have a lovely little section where he talks about how the news in South Africa, there was a lot that we weren't allowed to see.
Yes.
But like what they did show was Dallas.
If you don't know South Africa, you don't remember South, I don't know if you're going to talk about this.
No, please, go ahead.
Like Dallas was...
The great unifier.
Was stopping... restaurants would just close.
Yeah.
The restaurants didn't say that, but they would just close on a Tuesday night.
Nothing would happen during a Tuesday night at 9 p.m. I think it was 9 p.m.
Okay, 9 p.m. People just like, it's pointless. People are going to be home watching Dallas. Yeah.
It was the great unifier. Yeah. So he talks about it, and they actually play a little clip. They play the theme music. And he just talks about how, so they didn't get a lot of info as to what was going on in the news, but everyone in the country was watching Dallas. And I don't want to give the whole story away. So he becomes a lawyer, but he's kind of like small time, and he's working in the Cape Flats, and he's defending all the criminals in that area.
Right.
Then he gets an opportunity. I'm going to give a couple of spoilers here. Then he gets an opportunity to go to the UK and work with The lawyer who defended Nelson Mandela at his treason trial.
Like, I like that.
Yeah.
But if you had told me he gets to go work with the lawyer who defended whoever shot JR, then I would be, that is some impressive shit.
Okay,
because
sorry.
that person doesn't exist because he's an actor. But it didn't
Also, wasn't that all a dream? No,
it was all a dream.
It was all a dream.
It was all a
right?
dream. No one was convicted.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
But
a
the crime
very
still
inspirational
exists.
story.
Yes.
It does move out of apartheid times and it goes to where he is now, but I actually cried while I listened to it. It was very emotional.
We do a podcast that makes people cry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good company.
Yeah.
Very good company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Different reasons,
Yeah,
but
totally different.
But yes, very moving. It's lovely. That episode is called, I'll tell you now. So the podcast, again, reminder, is called Lives Less Ordinary. Because what the main focus of the podcast is about how eventually he takes on the gold mining companies.
Ooh,
Yes.
Okay.
It's a real David and Goliath story.
it really is.
Yes. Township Lawyer versus Gold Giants is what the 2 episodes are called. There's part 1, part 2. Lives Less Ordinary, BBC podcast. I'm sure there are other 80s related episodes in this. I might come back to it. But
Please tell me that, because the BBC, like, they don't fuck around when they make podcasts.
Oh, no.
It's not just sitting around.
oh no.
It's like they have
it's
sound
properly
effects
properly
and everything.
produced, sound, all the things. Properly produced.
and they got a bit of money. When they talk about Dallas, do they play the...
Yes, that's what they are. That's what I said. They played the clip, they played the theme music.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. It brought it to life. Speaking of podcasts, just a quick mention as well. You remember we spoke about A Town Called Malice, that TV series.
Yes.
Where it's the crime family from the UK who go live in the Costa del Sol.
Yeah.
So the latest episode of Criminal, which I have spoken about many times on this show, tells the true story of an Irish criminal who went to go live in the Costa del Sol.
Wow. Because, it was, I mean,
It's
it
a
was all
thing.
fictional.
No, but
it was
apparently
based on
loads of criminals go and live there.
Because at the
Yeah.
time, I was like, is this a true story? And it's like,
yeah.
not really, but it's based on the accounts of a lot of different
Yeah.
people.
And I just have to actually say that episode is so funny because they basically catch this guy because he posts Google reviews of restaurants. That's how they catch him.
It's always going to get you. It's always going to get you. So, Dori, like last week I went like with a decent movie. It wasn't trash. And then this week I decided I'm going to go back to a movie that I wanted to do a very long time. Because you've seen Terminator, right?
Right.
And have you ever watched Terminator and gone, I really wish this Terminator movie had more arm wrestling? You have. We all have.
My secret is out.
Yeah. We all want, and maybe that's how you hurt your left arm. They call
Secret
you
is out.
They call you the left-armed bandit in the wrestling rings of the
dystopian future?
Dori, you have fucking picked where my movie is set. So there was this funny thing that happened in the 80s, especially because of VHS. There was a range of what they called bloxploitation movies coming out of Italy. So, and some of those Italian directors became really big producers out of this. But if a movie was a big hit in America, they'd make a straight-to-video rubbish Italian version of it, right? A total ripoff, released.
Is this like spaghetti westerns?
It is. It's exactly right, but based off 80s action. So there were Rambo versions, there were Terminator versions. If it was big in the 80s, they did an Italian, and multiple versions of it. My movie today is one of them. It falls into my genre of movies. I love it when every place it was released has got a different name. So you'll actually never be able to track it down unless you have Plex. It is a movie called Hand of Steel.
Okay.
Right? Which is exactly Terminator, but with arm wrestling. So we do open in a dystopian world, a dystopian time. Do you know what year they opened in?
2022.
Oh, geez, not that. 1997.
Oh, wow.
With the distant future of 1997. Like,
Was this movie from 1980?
it was made in the 80s.
Okay.
And
So 97 was so
far away. And I was in Matric in 1997. So for me, the world was far from dystopian. Everything, I was like, I'm getting out of school next year. Like, this is, like, for me, the world was my literal oyster. Right? And no, it wasn't my literal oyster. It was my figurative oyster. Before you correct me. And we have a man who is leading this green movement, okay, eco-warrior. And he's kind of going, you know what, I'm leading this movement against the establishment, and I want to rid the world of chemical contamination, right? So he's a bit of an eco-warrior. And the chemical contamination companies, okay, send a cyborg from the future to kill this man, right? Because obviously these guys, they go, you fucked up everything for us.
Yeah.
We're going to send our cyborg from the future to come kill you. And they send him through.
Yet they managed to have a future with a cyborg, so it wasn't that fucked up for them.
And chemical contamination. So it kind of worked for everybody, but they're going, we could have had more chemical contamination.
Whatever.
It's not explained.
Let's not get
it doesn't
into the nitty-gritty.
matter, right?
Yes.
So
hang on, 1997 is the future where the cyborg comes from?
No. 1997 was where the cyborg goes to.
Okay, so where does he come from?
1999. Oh. I don't know. Never explained. Doesn't matter. He comes from the future.
Okay.
And they send to kill him. The cyborg's name is Paco Guerrero. His name's Paco. A Terminator cyborg called Paco. Okay.
Okay.
Huge man. Definitely looks.
Hang on, it's Italian, but it's also Mexican?
It is, because it's set in it's shot in America.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, it is Mexican because they end up in Arizona.
Right.
So I suppose that's where the kind of, but
Donald Trump's getting rid of all the Mexicans.
He's getting rid of all.
Going to be completely
this
not
guy,
true.
Why I laugh, because you've not seen this man. He does not look Mexican at all. You wouldn't say Arnold Schwarzenegger looks Mexican.
No.
Okay, this man looks like. He looks like if Arnold Schwarzenegger
was ordered on Wish.
And John Kreese in the original Karate Kids, the bad guy who had Cobra Kai, if they had a baby.
Okay, I can totally see it.
That's what this guy looks like, but not Mexican, right? But his name's Paco, which I find hilarious. But he's not a full cyborg. Cyborgs aren't full cyborgs.
No, a cyborg's a cyborg.
Well, it's part
not a
human.
Robot.
A full robot.
Yes.
So he's 70% cyborg. Okay, his 30% is still human. So he doesn't kill the eco-warrior.
Right.
He hurts him because he goes, no, actually, this is wrong. These people are wrong.
Does he have a human heart and a human brain? And
Dori. So he's not brave. He has no heart, he has no brain, and he's afraid. And he meets a girl called Dorothy, and they go to the land of Oz. So he goes, no, fuck this. I can't kill this guy. I'm just going to hurt him, and then I'm going to run away. Okay? And he steals Mosley's car, which does not in any way look like a white DeLorean from Back to the Future. By saying that, it looks exactly like a fucking DeLorean from Back to the Future, even though it came out just before Back to the Future. But anyway, so he escapes in this car, and off he goes, and he ends up in this desert town, okay, to hide, because he goes, this is perfect. I'm going to settle down, and I'm actually going to tap into my humanity while I'm in this town. They don't use those words because I don't think the actor could say humanity.
Humanity.
No, he wasn't Mexican. He was stupid, Dori. And so he gets
anyone we know in the cast.
John Saxon.
John Saxon.
You'll know him if you see him.
Okay.
Definitely dodging tax.
Right.
For this movie. Definitely got paid cash. Okay. So he's the only one. He's in 2 or 3 scenes. So the cyborg goes into this town and he meets the girl who runs the bar, and he wants work as a handyman, of which she gives him the work as a handyman, and now he's hanging around the bar just being helpful. But of course the bar is the local hotspot because this town's number one passion is arm wrestling. Okay?
I feel like I've seen this movie, but it's not this movie.
No, because you're thinking the movie called Over the Top.
I am indeed.
And you'd think, this movie ripped off Terminator, they're definitely ripping off Over the Top.
No.
It came out before Over the Top.
No.
Not a fucking word of a lie. It came out a year before Over the Top.
So Over the Top stole
No. So Over the Top was in production at the same time. So it's not like that, because
the universe of arm wrestling just aligned.
There must have been a zeitgeist, right?
Arm wrestling zeitgeist.
People must have gone, you know what's going to be big? A couple of years ago, people went, paddle.
Yeah.
But at this time, they're going, fucking, let's build arm wrestling things all over the place and do arm wrestling movies. So this movie starts out as a cyborg thing.
Yes.
The last you see of him as a cyborg is he's fixing his arm, and the state of the art that he has, and I should have worn it out of commemoration today, is a little Casio calculator watch. That's how he controls himself.
Surely if you're...
He goes to his little calculator watch and reprograms himself.
Surely if you have a robotic arm, you have an unfair advantage over a human who you're going to arm wrestle?
Arm wrestles with his left arm.
Oh, which is human.
His human arm. Right? And he wins all the time.
Something both of us could not do right now with our wrists.
And he wins all the time, showing that actually, because he's a cyborg, but he's winning with his human arm. So he's actually good and strong and definitely takes steroids. Okay? So he's living. So there's a cyborg thing. And for about 30 minutes, they completely forget that he's a fucking cyborg. He's just arm wrestling and just tournaments. And they just bring worst person after worst person after worst person to come wrestle him. And he beats them. Then they remember, oh fuck, the cyborg thing. So there's 2 government agents after him. And they just show up. And now they're trying to kill him. Of course they can't kill him because he's so good. They send a female cyborg after him.
Of course. Okay, I have questions, but I'm going to not ask any of them.
All the government officials, everybody descend now on this final scene where they're trying to kill Paco. Fights them all. Fucking every... Trucks exploding, fucking so much shit happening. 80s music, synth, oh, just imagine all of them.
Electric guitar?
So much of it. There's one part where he walks through the desert to the most rocky sound, rock-ish. Not Rocky, because they will rip off Rocky.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Sounding music and fucking great. Kills everyone. And now he walks out to his, because he's now fallen in love with the bar lady. And she goes, oh, it's fantastic. You've won over in the end. And being a cyborg, he goes, no, I'm more human than you think. And he opens his chest and he's been shot in his human heart. And he's going to die now. And you've fucking built a bond and affinity. Look at Dori, so upset. She's so upset.
Really
you did not expect that happening. They're going to sex in the desert.
You dropped me at the end there.
Yeah. Huge,
I thought we were going to have a happy ending with baby robots.
No.
Baby cyborgs running around.
You would love that. You know? Hand of Steel 2, 3, 4. You know, it's going to... But no, Paco, we don't know if he dies. But you assume, I mean, he's...
Hang on, he's shot in the heart, but he's walking around and talking.
Dori.
I know. I'm just pointing that out.
Can I lift up the mood a little bit?
Please.
There's one part where now the eco-warrior... who's now been wounded, they come now to get identification because everyone's cahoots now. The whole government, everybody. They all know what's going on. People coming from the future, but they know what's going on. So fucking... And this is how he describes the incident or describes the cyborg to them.
It wasn't especially large, but it felt hard. Extremely hard.
Even if you have zero dirty mind, you're gonna laugh at that.
Totally think about that.
It's too
It's just too much. So that is my movie of the week.
Remind us of the title of this movie.
Hand of Steel, or what was the other names? Oh, the main bad guy's called Raul. So there's Paco and Raul. They're the main arm wrestling chommies. In some place it is called Atomic Cyborg, and in others just straight up Return of the Terminator.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's called I can't even remember what the name is after all of it. Hand of Steel.
Hand of Steel.
Hand of Steel.
As opposed to Man of Steel.
Yeah, can't rip off Superman. Yeah, I can't go that far. So that is taking from Nelson Mandela fighting apartheid, evil gold mine apartheid, gold hoarders, robots, arm wrestling.
I love it. I love it. I have to say, it sounds kind of fun.
No, it's a lot of fun. If you've got a spare 1 hour and 23 minutes and 47 seconds, it is on Plex.
When is Plex going to start sponsoring us?
I know.
Listen, honestly, we give them way too much love.
When are Plex going to start paying copyright? You know what I mean? Start paying taxes in the countries that they broadcast in. Let's start there. Pay your taxes, Plex. Pay your taxes.
Pay us.
So give that a watch and you go, you know, this guy is the most believable cyborg ever. He's the worst actor. He's just like, she goes, can you clean out? She goes, oh, okay, well, I got some work for you. You can clean out the storage yard. No, I can't do that. You go, fuck, this guy's such a good actor. It's like, no, he's just.
So he's just robotic.
He's just robotic.
Like in every role.
Good looking guy.
Oh, okay.
Good looking guy. He flexes while he fights. He throws a guy over a bar and then he like flexes his robot arm. But anyway, that is my movie of the week. I'm
at the very least going to watch the trailer.
You got to. Dori, we've never spoken about King Charles on
Have
this.
We not? No, probably not.
No, never. He did something with Apple Music this week called for the Commonwealth celebrations, Commonwealth Day celebrations. Very cynical little plug. Apple Music have released the what do they call it? The King's Music Room.
I don't think it's the first time he's done it.
No, it's not the first time, but it's the first time we're talking about it on the show. And he goes around the Commonwealth and picks a song.
Yes.
From all of them. Do you want to hear some of the 80s songs?
Of course.
Could You Be Loved by Bob Marley? This was the one that actually caught everyone's attention. Yeah. Kylie Minogue, The Locomotion.
By everyone, you mean Barrett, our chart savant.
Okay.
Our celeb savant.
He was very excited.
Barrett was beyond excited.
Very excited that King Charles's people have chosen Kylie Minogue's song.
Yes. Which song?
The Locomotion.
Oh.
Yeah, can you imagine old King Charles?
All her songs.
What else are you going to do? I Should Be So Lucky. The Jason Donovan. The one with Jason Donovan. That's double Commonwealth. La Vie en Rose, Grace Jones.
Okay.
Got to get some Grace Jones in there. Miriam Makeba, the Click song. And then Upside Down by Diana Ross.
Huh.
Yeah, so the King's people like some 80s music. So go listen to that playlist or not on Apple Music. You don't need us to tell you to do. It's the fucking King. You're going to not listen to the King.
Nah.
I'll show you. You get beheaded. Some 80s things that are coming out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're re-releasing. They're going to re-release into cinemas the original movie.
Oh, they're not remaking it.
They are remaking it. They keep remaking Ninja Turtles. Michael Bay did a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of animated, but they're going back to the original 80s one with the animatronic puppets, with actual people inside, and the one guy kept passing out because it was so hot. Fuck, that movie fucking blew my mind. I was 10 years old, loved the fucking Ninja Turtles, went to go watch it.
And they had come to life.
There used to be a cinema in Randburg CBD before you could, like a human could go there without being mugged. That then became later, it became Gates and then it became Chillers, right? Okay. But it used to be a cinema to start off with. And I went to it through all its iterations. And that's the first time I saw Ninja Turtles. Later on, when I went to it as Gates, which was a rave club, it's the first time I saw somebody fuck out in ecstasy. So I've seen it.
So many firsts.
So many firsts.
Right.
And they are.
I thought you were going to say that you saw Ninja Turtles, but that was the acid.
That person saw Ninja Turtles. Fucking no doubt about that person saw fucking Ninja Turtles that day. That is being released into cinemas. Dori, they've remade with the. This is very interesting. The Toxic Avenger is coming out in cinemas very soon, starring Peter Dinklage.
I have questions.
Right. I can't make out if he's the Toxic Avenger. Because obviously the Toxic Avenger was about this
You've done it as one of your movies.
As like an anti-superhero who kills people who don't love the environment. Kind of like opposite of... Because in my movie Hands of Steel, I don't know if the robot hates the environment or loves the environment. I can't make out what he's up to.
Just likes to arm wrestle.
He just likes arm wrestling. So Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage. Don't know what role he's playing, but we'll watch that space. And have you checked what J-Bay's doing? Because the remake of the reboot of Little House on the Prairie is headed to Netflix.
Reboot?
The reboot.
I mean...
Do people give a fuck about those days?
Honestly.
You know what I'm saying?
I loved it as a child. I don't think I would watch it now.
I mean, the time...
Is J-Bay going to be the old man in it?
He's playing the Michael, that guy's role. Shame I say that guy. It's fantastic. We love him. Playing, I'm not going to say...
Michael Landon?
Michael Landon role.
Sure.
That took a while.
Yeah, I told you I don't have names.
Now, listen, I'm going to assume that they said it in that Prairie times, but do people actually care about those times anymore? Well, there are people like Yellowstone.
Is it the same times? Cowboys.
I don't know, people were dirty and wearing hats.
Yeah,
in
so
the desert.
dirty.
I assume so dirty.
You know, whenever I watch a Western, I think it must have smelled so bad.
That's my thing. It's like so.
Especially when they go to the whorehouses.
Like,
and these gross men go to the saloon.
Oh,
The saloon.
God damn it.
I'm so glad that movies aren't smell-o-vision.
I know.
Can you imagine?
Dusty. Yeah, that's why I also can't watch Westerns for that reason. Now
dirt.
you've given me the saloon things. I was just like, it's just too dusty.
Yeah.
And then now you're going,
the saloon and the whorehouse.
It was always that. It was always the whorehouses. So those, we do not look forward to that one.
No.
Definitely looking forward to Ninja Turtles. On the fence about Toxic Avenger, but I do love Peter Dinklage.
We're keeping an open mind. We do love Peter Dinklage. Yes.
Do not like the Little House on the Prairie.
I'm going to check it out, maybe, just like out of curiosity.
If J-Bay backs it again. Now, because you know what's going to happen as well. They're going to put, just because it's Netflix, they're going to go, we're going to put the original one back on, but we're going to AI the backgrounds.
Oh, God.
And the fucked up shit you're going to see. God help us all.
Everybody looking like a weird J-Bay with bad plastic surgery.
God, people in those past times were ugly as shit.
Judgy.
So those are the things coming up, and we'll keep that 80 show in content for many years to come. But anyway, on a serious note, check out our interview with Headway, the charity we're supporting for Podcasthon. Take a listen to that and go check out all the details that we're going to post with that. And everything we spoke about on today's show can be found on that 80 Show SA on Facebook, or just look in the show notes.
Yes.
They
but
are
also
all there.
like us on Facebook.
Like us on Facebook, because that's where we still are.
Yeah, we're still there because we're old.
Lost our passwords like a good middle-aged person. Dori, favorite thing you heard in the show today?
So many things.
So many things.
I think the Peter Dinklage thing it's definitely weighing on my head. Eh?
I went through it so quickly. I went through it really quickly, but now that I think about it, I'm like, fuck, that was actually... We got to find out more.
We'll find out more, and we'll have more next week.
Yeah, probably not next week. In 3 weeks' time, when we remember it. So, didn't we do a Peter Dinklage thing? Who's Peter Dinklage?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, thank you.
That certainly is interesting.
Thanks for joining me, Dori.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.